The Dodgers were clearly the best team in baseball with Manny Ramirez, but where are they now that they've played a full 10 games without him? Hey, how are you folks? Jason Horowitz. Glad to be with you here on CBSSports.com. This week's edition of Power Rankings. Let's bring in our CBSSports.com writer, Larry Dobrow, who you'll see every single week here on CBSSports.com with Power Rankings. And Larry, let's start off with the Dodgers. First 5 games without Manny, they really struggled. Last 5 at Philly, at Florida, really playing well. So where do you have them in your Power Rankings this week as of May 18th?
I have them second. The first couple games without Manny were challenging. You know, you lose a couple games to the Nationals. There's nothing good about that. Nothing good can come out of it. One of the games, they blew a big lead in the second inning. Right now, though, everything's pretty much returned to where you'd expect it would. Matt Kemp's hitting a little bit. Juan Pierre, of all people, has been hitting very well at the top of the order. And the pitching is great. I think a lot of people forget that about the Dodgers. The fact that they do have Chad Billingsley, Clayton Kershaw, who almost threw a no-hitter yesterday. So the Dodgers are still a pretty solid team, Manny or no.
Yeah, and they're second in your Power Rankings. Let's take a look at the top 5 here for this week. And right behind the Blue Jays, which, let's be honest, through 40 games, Larry, nobody expected the Blue Jays to be anywhere in the top 5. You look at these 5 teams, is there anything that separates any of these 5 right now?
Well, the reason that Blue Jays are ranked #1, quite simply, is Roy Halladay. He's the best pitcher in baseball. He's been the best pitcher in baseball for 2 or 3 years now. Every time he pitches, the Jays are going to win. That is why the Jays are a superior team right now.
And he has the Major League best 8 victories, which he got over the weekend. What about the Brewers here? Last year with CC Sabathia, they experienced being at the top a little bit, so they have that. They don't have CC Sabathia, but they're still at the top. At 23-14, you really think they can keep this?
I think they do. I think Giovanni Gallardo, starting as he's evolved into a legitimate ace. He's not CC Sabathia, who is really. On the other hand, he's done more than enough. I mean, he won a game with his bat, a 1-0 shutout where he hit the home run. You got to love that. Jeff Suppan, you can't exactly rely on, but he's been pitching pretty well recently. The bullpen has been much, much better than anybody expected, with Trevor Hoffman not losing anything in translation to a new stadium. And the hitters, they hit. Prince Fielder is on pace right now, which I don't think a lot of people know, for about 40 homers and about 145 RBIs. This is still a very, very good baseball team.
And they're top third of the league in terms of home runs. They have 49 as a group. But what about the fact that they've been kind of beating up on some of the weaker opponents here?
Well, there are no dominant teams in the National League right now. Yes, they're going to get a lot of easy wins against the Pirates. They're going to get a lot of easy wins against pretty much everybody except the Dodgers in the National League West. On the other hand, they're still winning those games, and they count the same in the win column.
You talked about the Pirates. They're at the bottom of the NL Central. What about the rest of the NL Central? When you look at it as a whole, do you see any of the top 4 teams can come out of this division?
I think any of the top 4 could right now. I think with the Cardinals, it's largely premised on getting some of the outfielders healthy and getting Chris Carpenter back into the starting rotation. Chris Carpenter at 80% is better than a lot of starters at 100. They do that. The bullpen is stabilized with Ryan Franklin being an anchor at the end. Some of the younger guys being middle relief, workers. Yeah, they could do it.
You got to keep Chris Carpenter healthy, which should also be the other important part.
Get somebody on that full time.
Yeah, absolutely, for the Cardinals. What about the bottom? Never fun to be there, never fun to talk about it, but we'll do it anyway. When you look at the bottom 5 teams in your Power Rankings, obviously the Nationals stand out, but who's the biggest surprise?
I'd have to say the Indians. The Cleveland Indians, everybody coming into this year loved them. Last year, even after they traded CC Sabathia and some of their other mainstays, they were one of the best teams in baseball in the second half of the season. This year, nothing works. Whenever Cliff Lee pitches well, the offense doesn't show up. Whenever the offense shows up, they have a starter who blows a 6-run lead. It's a mess, and I have a feeling it's going to result in the manager getting fired before too long, Eric Wedge.
Do you see the Indians being able to bounce out of that, though, and maybe moving from 26 to 22 to 18, and then maybe somehow finding their way in the top half?
Well, those incremental gains, I imagine, would make them feel good about themselves until the bullpen stabilizes a little bit, and it's been a problem they've had for the last couple of years. There's only so much they can do. The hitters, Victor Martinez, after doing nothing last year, is hitting again. Travis Hafner apparently is getting healthy in AAA right now. So we'll see. Right now, they're just nothing's working, for lack of a better way to put it.
All right, we'll see if the Indians can climb out of it. And, of course, you can see the entire list of Power Rankings on CBSSports.com every single week from Larry Dobrow here on the website. Larry, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me.
All right, for more, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com. Take care, folks.